Hello, I'm not one to usually have my face shown, like not really, but I just figured that, this would be good documentation to show, hey, Minfrey, this is what you looked like before. Well, can't wait to see how you'll look like in the future, whether there's like little changes, drastic changes, or whatever, as you discover yourself to be non-binary. Even though I could picture myself doing pretty well with like, t-shirts and jeans, but occasionally want to wear like a crop top and a tank top underneath you know, I figured like that'd be a really great thing for me, but in any case, I just want to also say to you guys, like, thanks for how the responses have been and the feedback for when I opened up about just what's been going on for where even though I did post that graphic to say I'm done with those dark thoughts, but it seems that when you uncover one layer in your mental mind, there tends to be more layers you end up seeing that need to be uncovered, such as me discovering I'm non-binary, me needing to switch jobs and realize that I can actually regard myself a whole lot better in the workforce rather than let myself get bullied so easily by a horrible, horrible boss. And I'm really glad that a lot of things are starting to come around for where when I have been unwrapping these layers, I ended up recalling some pretty traumatic events from my childhood. That's why it's just been so hard to cope because for a long time I wanted to push those awful memories back. Like to think that I have awful memories dating back all the way to when I was a toddler of all things. Like when it gets to that point and you end up adapting to the kind of environment you've been raised in, you just suppress those memories, learn to be grateful with what your family can bring you up to, and then match their ideals and never even think of being non binary or having an interest in men, stuff like that. And it's been really great that I've been able to properly go back to these memories, especially when talking to my therapist, for where I didn't really get the right to properly explore myself like some people's parents would to say, well, if you want to wear a dress, my son, then go for it. Or, oh, my daughter wishes to be more boyish. She could certainly do that. I never really had that right, especially with, like, let's just say the hierarchy that my father established way, way long ago. Of course, he is a much better man. He really is. But those scars just they could stick to you. They really can because the brain is so responsive to the sense of fear that it overrides anything and anything that would be deemed logical, as my therapist explained to me, for where I've got to work these problems out properly rather than just shoving them down. That's what I've got to do. And that's what I'm going to do moving forward. Like, honestly, I was really afraid to just properly express myself for where I've only limited to some friends. And they've been so supportive of me to say, hey, you're going through these relapses. It happens. It means progress is still going. It doesn't mean you're starting over from zero because 5 to 6 years ago, that's how I lost a few friends and ended up shutting myself out a bit from society, except for very few friends to stick with. And was on a major hiatus from making content until finally I decided to recreate myself as Mitfrey. uh, but it definitely comes to show the people that were not responsive too well with me going through a lot of mental health issues, especially with being suicidal 5 to 6 years ago. And it's just a lot. Yeah, like uh to say man, the way they judged me back then, but I'm starting to really understand what the true meaning of friendships are and what the true meaning of treating yourself really is. I've learned a lot from this, and I'm really glad I chose to open up and get over my fears of thinking, oh no, I should feel terrible for having suicidal thoughts? I should feel terrible about that? I mean, looking back, I'm like, wait, why should somebody feel terrible for going through those thoughts? Like, if something's really going on, then they need to properly express them to the right people, especially to get a therapist to get them on the right track. And I was pretty hesitant in relying on a therapist because I got regarded horribly by one therapist, especially when he said, well, look at you landing right back in therapy. I put you in as a success story, Mint. That is a terrible therapist. That really is. Like, the first batch of therapists I've ever had, I just really couldn't click with them. And I've always felt like it was just more business transaction-y, let's just say. And the second to last one, he was egotistical. But the last one I've had has been so terrific that it felt really good to properly open up about himself, and he wanted to learn and understand more of me by asking the right questions and going over the right facts over the human brain, which really has been amazing. Like, that kind of therapist clicks really well with me because I do watch Cars Scott videos sometimes, and I always enjoy the stuff that they discuss. I really, really do. And well, I really do feel like I can move forward a whole lot better in life now. Like, I really, really can. And well, hey, Mintfrey from the past. How are things going? This is like where your mindset was at. If you ever feel like shit, well, you can go back and watch this video again if you want to. Or if you just want to go back to see how I really was and how I really wanted to renew myself, well, here I am. I really hope you're doing well. I hope you look fucking beautiful as being a non-binary individual, or maybe something else along the lines you discover yourself to be. Hope you've been keeping up really well, my guy. I really hope so. And if you want to look back to see what I look like or what state of living you were in here in this town, well, this is it. I hope you've been doing really well, man. I really hope so. And this is where you were before. And of course, you're gonna post a picture to say this is the before me compared to this amount a few years later. I imagine you'll do that as well, but I'll make sure to get a picture upload for you, man. So that way you can compare yourself to how you look a few years from now when you enter your 30s. But yeah, like, I just really want to be able to do well for my 30s. That's why I've been trying really hard to just try to get my mental health in order. That's what I've been going for. And I do feel like that with the hard work that I want to put in, I can finally do it like I said I would with making content. Of course, I just need to be patient with myself, explore more about me being non-binary and being less afraid of changes for where I've just been so afraid of what people are going to think of me when going through these kinds of changes. Like, will they recognize the same person? I just been so afraid of that I just didn't know how to carry on. But well, I do feel like I do know how to carry on now. And I just want to say thank you all to those that have been open for me. I really have been. And I really can't wait to see what the future is going to hold for me. It's going to be really exciting. Of course, I'm still going to have my bad mental health days. I mean, who doesn't? Everyone does. Quite literally, everyone does. And that's going to be a-okay, because I know that every time I get home, that I'm going to feel really good, even though I currently hate my current job, as I don't know what job I'm going to move into next. I broadly told my boss what it's going to be, and he assumes that I've already got a job locked in, because usually you have a plan set in motion before you put in your resignation, but mine is just involving a lot of responses from jobs I applied to, and so far they're really keen on having me on board, so I think I'm going to do really, really well for myself. I think I will. All right. That's really what I wanted to say to you guys. I wasn't going to make this kind of statement until for sure I have a plan and action with what to carry out. And I think I got that action and plan in order. I really, really do. So I'm looking forward to how the rest of this year will treat me. I really thought this was going to be my year, but it turns out I needed to overcome a lot of hurdles to get to where I need to be. And I'm very excited when Mintfrey 2.0 kicks in. Of course, I gotta make sure to have the right kind of paying job, pay off my loans to my father, for the car that I got, which I'm so very surprised that I got. And well, can't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs, so here's to me. Alright. Mintfrey from the future, I hope that was a really good speech for you in case you need to go back to this a few years from now. I'll have a book fart for you, man. Okay, you guys carry on social media and such and do what you want to do, okay? I'm gonna try to live my life to the fullest. I'm gonna try doing that. Bye-bye!